Oh my gosh, hello everyone, and welcome back to Den Mother Amanda. This is Dema on my live stream. Do another women and trans women and truth of between trans women and women. Um, there's this thing that seems to be going around where in a trans women community that breastfeeding is safe and okay. That's not known medically for sure. And trans women's breast milk was not meant for infant consumption, even a little bit. The biology of the trans woman and woman's body is completely and totally different. No matter how long the trans woman has been on estrogen or hormone therapy and or been put on medications to help them lactate, it is not the same. Hey, yeah, hey, how you doing, sweetie? Dork 1 and Dork 2. Um, but yeah, it's just the fallacy that trans women's breast milk is safe and okay for infants. I don't believe it for even a millimeter of a second, not even a little bit. Now, what I believe with these trans people wanting to breastfeed infants is they're AGPs, they're pedophiles, and they're child rapists. That's what I believe. And all they're trying to do and want to do is cause harm to infants and children. And they're not really trans women. I consider them to be pedophiles and child rapists. The only reason that these trans women want to breastfeed infants is for the sexual gratification only. And that's disgusting. I believe they're cross dressing AGPs, autogynephiliacs, and who only get sexual pleasure out of being cross dresser or breastfeeding infants. No more, no less. I think it's disgusting, and I think it should be criminal charges should be brought against these people that want to do this. Biological women's bodies were the only bodies that were biologically created to be able to breastfeed and nourish an infant the proper way. I know it's kind of disheartening to think that a trans woman can provide nutrients, the right nutrients for an infant when our bodies weren't made that way. And every human's body was created in a certain way for certain reasons. Um, as good as science is, and biologists, and a lot of medical doctors are, there's this thing that hasn't been accomplished yet, and that's being able to change someone's chromosomes after birth from male to female or female to male. Oh yes, it has to be usually there's certain medications that can be taken so that trans women can produce. I'm going to say breast fluid. I'm going to say milk. A lot of people say breast milk from trans women, but I'm going to say fluid because I don't believe it's milk of any kind. And as trans women, I say even I said even after being on hormones for X amount of time or even long periods of time, it doesn't change that fact that even though they can instruct our body, the hormones can instruct our bodies to do different things than what we were born for. It doesn't change biological chemistry in the body to be able to properly produce milk, breast milk. Trans women were not born with a uterus. Trans women can't get pregnant and grow a baby with inside themselves. And all those things that biological women are capable of doing and being able to, while pregnant, be able to produce milk, breast milk while they are pregnant and after specifically for breastfeeding. Trans women's bodies weren't made and meant to do that originally, and even though the hormones can instruct the body to do different things than what was originally born for, does not change the chromosomes of the body or the reproductive organs or the organs that produce other things to sustain the feeding of an infant or a baby. It just hasn't been. Okay, now what I've heard of is people trying. There are scientists that are trying to be able to hopefully sometime in the future. Well, no, well that's true, yes, but there's this thing with biological women. They may be able to at some point with help. Okay, and biological women were born assumed with that capability to be able to do, and their bodies were prepared to be able to do that. Whether they can eventually end up doing that or not, that's I don't believe that's here nor there. Their bodies were originally meant to be able to do that, to be able to do that if they can. Doesn't mean all of them will. Of course not. There are some that won't be able to do that. And it doesn't mean men that transition to transgender women can. We weren't even born with the presumed capability to be able to do that. The only thing trans women were biologically born to do originally was inseminate pregnancy, which gives biological women, if they can get pregnant, the capability to be able to do that and produce it naturally without medications. For the most part, more than 98% can do that. Some biological women may need medical help to be able to get pregnant and be able to do that. There are some medications women can take that won't harm the baby, but for the most part, biological women shouldn't even be taking prescription medications while pregnant. because it could do harm to the unborn child. And trans women who are not biological women have to take take medications to be able to continue to produce breast milk. And the science doesn't even know whether it's safe for an infant to do that. Because they also say that other than prenatal vitamins and vitamins, regular over-the-counter vitamins after that, the delivery for enhancement of breast milk and stuff like that, is bad for the baby. And it's recommended. It's recommended not to take prescription medications if breastfeeding after childbirth, because it can be harmful. They need a uterine transplant. Doesn't mean that they can still produce breast milk, and it will be nourishing. Okay, it's gotta. What normally happens with a woman's body is trans women's bodies weren't made to be pregnant and produce breast milk. Originally, it just wasn't. And it just seems crazy to me to think that trans women can fully nourish an infant by breastfeeding. It just sounds it makes no sense. To me, it doesn't make no sense. It just seems like another walk towards insanity to me. And there hasn't even been any studies as to what trans women's milk can or can't do for an infant. For sure, yeah, it's filling. They'll get their stomachs filled. That's about all that they really know. Other than that, they're not getting the right electrolytes and the right the nutrients that they would get from their mother that carried them and gave birth to them. I just don't see it. All the science predating this says it's not the truth. That I've seen and heard of says that men's breast liquid provides zero nourishment, almost zero nourishment for the infant, other than the infant having a full stomach. There's no short-term or long-term research on there, and with the consequences, the adverse consequences that could be had for the child in the long term. I don't know if that should be risked or even a chance be taken on that. Because there's a lot of nourishments from the biological mother that protect against a lot of other things, especially within the first 6 months of that infant's life, because the biological mother, the one that was pregnant for that child and delivered that child, their immunity systems are the same. That's the only thing that's actually a carbon copy from the mother to the child is the immunity factor for the first 6 months, and it's shedding it. And the infant sheds the mother's immunity system and starts developing their own. And the infant's not getting any of that help from the trans woman, from their breast liquid. They're not getting that. Maybe call me crazy. I have a really hard time believing it. I know there's going to be studies anyway because people are going to still do it. Maybe maybe I'll be proved wrong, right along with a lot of other people will be proved wrong that trans women's breast milk was not meant for infants, and it's probably not going to be healthy in the long run for the infant in the long run. Because the support that the nourishing support that the infant gets directly from its mother that carried it and delivered it helps support long-term growth for that in that children and helps in their the development, especially the early development from date of birth to. I've seen women breastfeed their children until they're a year 1 to 2 years old. Yeah, and I know there's going to be other people out there that say, well, what about things like Enfamil, stuff like that, and stuff like that? Well, that was intentionally made with the nutrients that the baby would get. It was made specifically for that. And that's been proven for decades. And no, that's still not exactly the same as a mother's breast milk. Say 1 and 2, mother's breast milk, biological mother's the one that carried the child and gave birth to the child. Her breast milk is number 1, and then formula would be number 2. Yeah, I don't know. And if the mom's not around for breastfeeding, if that's what you want to do, there's breast pumps that you can use, or there's formula. Formula's got to be much better than trans women's breast fluid. I know, and I'm trans. And I don't believe I'll ever be able to do that. Whether there's a special surgery I can get for being able to carry a child or not. Taking medication to be able to lactate or not. It's just not going to get the proper nutrients at the right level. I'm sure there's some, but nowhere near them. Even scientists and biologists say the infant isn't going to get all of the nutrients that's necessary for its early development. From trans milk. I don't know. It just, maybe I'm rambling, but it just sounds insane. It really does. I don't know. It sounds sickening to me. It really does. For some reason, it does. It just sounds like no insult to anybody, but it just sounds pedophilic. I don't know, why would a trans woman want to do that other than for gratification? Also, the mother that gave birth to the infant, breastfeeding for them also helps them heal after giving birth. Why would somebody want to steal that from the mother that gave birth to the child? Steal that bond that they get the mother and the infant get from that. Um, I just, it sounds too much like insanity. And I'm sound like I'm getting repetitive with the insanity thing, and it just all I know is children of the future, and I think that's doing more harm to the infant than it is any good. Um, I don't know. I wasn't planning on being here for very long, and I was probably only be on here for 10, maybe 15 minutes, but we're about 21 minutes, and that's okay. Um, anyway, how are you doing, Angelina? I hope you're doing okay today. Um, I'm doing okay anyway, I think. Let the dog out for a minute. He wants to go outside. Um, I believe the only milk that a man can produce that's any good for an infant is the milk that causes pregnancy. That's the only milk that I believe that trans women or men can give that is any good. That's the only part of it that's any good. Milk that a man can give that's any good for the infant is the one that causes pregnancy. That's all I know for sure. Because without that, no children. I know without the egg, there's no children. I don't know. It looks like my internet's spotty to times too, so I think I'm going to call this a day, and that's kind of probably pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. And so, Angelina, thanks for dropping in. I do appreciate it. I'm glad you're here. I really am. But yeah, maybe we can get on at some point and maybe talk about that too. So some of the stuff that I've been kind of looking online about. The pros and cons, the good, the bad. Is there any good to it? Is there any bad to it? And I don't think there's a whole lot of good to it, to be honest. At least I don't believe now, anyway. So maybe in the future it'll change. But I need to see the proof, and there's really no real proof of it that it's good for the infant right now. So, I don't know. Angelina, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you. I really do. You're a wonderful woman. Thank you. I appreciate your friendship. But yeah, she's also got a channel on Facebook. I think it's Angelina Hanasek, and if you go over and follow her, and I think she's put some stuff up on YouTube as well, and you can find her on YouTube. Some of her videos that she's posted, she puts out some good stuff, and yeah, please, anybody that watches this, please support her. She's a wonderful person. So thank you, Angelina, for stopping by, and for those who will stop by or have stopped by after this live and caught the replay. Thank you so much. There's information to how to help my channel, or maybe even donate if you want. Subscribe, pass on, share, and agree with what I do, my content. That's okay. Either one is okay, and I don't mind having conversations about it, as long as it's civil. So I'll end with, and from my heart, if no one told you they love you today, I love you. And thanks for everyone stopping by. And have a great rest of your day, no matter where you're at in the day. Thank you. Bye bye.